Limitless for me means being fearless about acknowledging that you don't know a number of things, fearless about trying to get the knowledge about these new things, right, that you want to learn. Also, being fearless about failure and how do you apply that to change yourself to be a better person at the end. I was born in Algeria, so we moved very quickly actually to France when I was very young, and then worked in the insurance industry in France, and then moved in Singapore, still working for the same insurance company. The first barrier for me was really coming probably from my origins, I would say. Born in Algeria, obviously, and raised by Algerian parents, they really kind of felt that becoming someone always meant that you had to remain very loyal to where you're coming from. I would say that one of the key barriers for me was around trying to convince myself that I was able to do much more than what I pictured myself to be able to do. So when I was young, actually, I was kind of convinced that your identity and your origin was the same thing. And then over time, I realized that it was not the same thing. And I think that overcoming your origin to become much more than your soul origin was really the key barrier that I would have actually encountered. So very recently, I have this example of my daughter who told my husband, "Oh, but you're the man." I was like, "Yes, I'm the man." So what? I found it very interesting to see that, an 11-year-old daughter who seems to be actually free of everything. She likes football. She's not a very typical girly, but still, she had this barrier or this image of, a man versus a woman. And I was like, but how is it possible, From, the society in general, there is, I would say, a prescription. There is a need to conform to a certain image of what women should be or what women can be. I would tend to say that women are probably more attached and still referred to a very specific image, which sometimes actually are, I think, sort of broadcast by women themselves, right? They limit themselves. And yeah, I think that women tend also themselves to put themselves barriers for themselves because of the way society sees them. And I think that as women, we definitely have to fight against these, against ourselves sometimes, and against the fact that things are really ingrained into our mind because society is strong and very one-sided without you being aware of this. For me, it's really about getting rid of or trying to ignore judgment. We try to understand who you are and what you like, what you don't like, and be open to try things that you think you may like to the point that you may excel or you may fail, but most importantly is try and not stop at the first obstacle basically or difficulty. To me, it's like you're a human being, and as long as you're a human being, honestly, you being a woman or being a male, I think that should be irrelevant based on what you want to do in life. And probably the best, I would say, success in my life would definitely be to transmit to my daughters and to women in general that they are free to do whatever they want.